Hi, I'm Ryan, and welcome to the ActivBoard Core Essential video. I'm here today to help you use your interactive whiteboard with your students. I'm also the author of Enhancing Students' Instructions with the Interactive Whiteboard. If you're looking for ways to use the interactive whiteboard, or you're looking for suggestions on how to improve your lesson design, then you've come to the right place.
The ultimate goal for the interactive whiteboard is to encourage student participation and to maximize student engagement. I've been using the interactive whiteboard now for almost 7 years, and with the interactive whiteboard, I've really enhanced my current instruction and have enhanced lessons to become dynamic, interactive, and most importantly, fun for the students. I'm going to show you practical ways to use the interactive whiteboard tools to integrate your best resources and to integrate your curriculum. I'm going to show you how to create lessons that are related to all content areas you're working with, and I'm going to show you the best and the easiest ways to engage your learners. The most important part, though, to remember is the interactive whiteboard is meant to implement innovation and creativity within your students. The interactive whiteboard is a collaborative classroom system designed and developed to help teachers engage learners and to improve their understanding. We can use the interactive whiteboard to create and deliver dynamic presentations to engage, educate, and inspire our students. The interactive whiteboard can be used to display documents, web pages, and videos on an interactive screen that responds by just the touch of a pen. We all know that as teachers, by putting students at the center of the learning process, we engage more learners and we're able to reach all different types of learning styles. As you can see on the list here, there are different ways that we can use the ActivBoard to engage our students. If you work in the classroom, or you're an educator just like I am, I'm sure you have a story that's very similar to my own. I was given an interactive whiteboard 7 years ago, and then my district paid for me to go to a seminar on how to use the interactive whiteboard technology. And I remember going to this seminar very excited because I was going to learn everything there was to learn about the interactive whiteboard. And at the end of the day, I remember walking out of that seminar thinking this was the worst presentation I'd ever been to before because I hadn't learned anything. One, the instructor went way too fast, and two, the only thing the instructor showed us were the tools. He didn't show us how to use the application of the tools, and he didn't show us how to use with students. So then I came back to my school district, and they told me that I was in charge of training the rest of the teachers in the district. And I remember thinking at that moment, I should have taken better notes. So I made it a goal in my life from that moment on that I was going to train teachers on how to use the interactive whiteboard. I would go at a slow pace, and I'd show them application on how to use the tools. And I'm happy to say I now travel all around the world showing thousands of teachers how to use the interactive whiteboard. And I slow it down for teachers so that they can understand and comprehend. I've also written 4 books on how to use the interactive whiteboard. When you're using the interactive whiteboard in your classroom, there's 3 questions I want you to ask yourself before you get started. The first one is, how can I use this tool to make my daily task easier? I guarantee you that if you use the interactive whiteboard in your classroom, you're going to find things in your classroom that become easier to manage. Classroom management, student behavior, curriculum and design, pedagogy, and student instruction all become easier when you implement the technology. The second question I want you to ask yourself is, what can I use this feature for? Throughout these presentations, I'm going to show you multiple features that you can use the interactive technology with. The third one, which is the most important, what in your workload can be reduced by using the software. I spend a lot of time designing templates that are free to teachers and which can be found on my website. I want you to download these presentations. I want you to recreate them so that they're your own. That way you don't have to spend 7 years of your life creating all the interactive whiteboard technology. I'm so happy to be here and I'm very excited to begin with you. Most importantly though, I want you to engage your students and put them at the center of the learning process. Before we start designing and creating lessons, it's important to know the terms and vocabulary that will be used throughout these instructional videos. The first term that we will often refer to is what we call an ActivBoard. An ActivBoard is the hardware or the platform that's actually hanging and mounted onto your walls. Another term that's often used is what they call a smartboard. Actually, a smartboard is just another brand of the interactive whiteboard. ActivBoard belongs to the company called Promethean. The next term we're going to use is what they call ActivInspire and ActivStudio. This is the software that we'll be using that's installed on your computers to interact with the ActivBoard. What's great is that you don't actually have to be plugged into the ActivBoard to be able to use the software. I do all my designing and all my creations at home on my computer, and then when I'm ready to interact with my students, I just project them onto the ActivBoard. Just remember, the ActivBoard is just a huge mouse that's hanging up on our wall with a projector on it. The term flipchart is used as the file associated with ActivInspire and ActivStudio. It's very similar to a file that's in Microsoft Word or PowerPoint. When you have a Microsoft Word or a PowerPoint file, you can have as many pages and as many documents open as you want to. In the ActivInspire, we just use the term flipchart. A flipchart has many pages to it. It can have graphics, it can have text, and again, you can save these for later use. The next term we're going to use quite often is the select tool, also known as the mouse tool. The select tool is used to move objects around the page or to click and drag objects from one side to the other. Another term we'll be using quite often is what they call the marquee box. A marquee box is when an object is clicked on and something will appear up on your screen. This right here is the marquee row of buttons. We're going to use these a little bit later. But again, the marquee is a row of buttons that show up when you click on something on the ActivBoard. Another term we're going to use quite a bit is the word annotations. Whenever you use the pen tool, the highlighter tool, or the magic ink, this is just a term we call annotations. Just think of annotations as a tool that you use to draw on the board. So anytime you're drawing on the board with a pen, you're using an annotation. Everything else on the board will be known as objects then. If we use shapes, or we use clip art, or we use pictures, or we use videos or text, they're all going to be considered objects.